Thought I'd do a quick video on this. This is a attempt at a hamstick mount, and what I'm trying to do is set it up to where essentially this is your BNC connector here and here. This one connects here. This one connects here. And what I've done is 3D printed some isolation pieces. You can see them in there. I'm actually going to redo this one. I made those a little thicker and a little bit closer to I already had these. So I'm actually going to print another one. Actually, while I'm thinking about it. I love this printer. This thing's been fantastic. That's another thing I printed today. A lot of what I print at draft quality because I want it quick. I don't have a lot of patience. But that's printed really well, really solid. I'm not sure if it's going to do what I want, but it's a little prototype for something. That's not something I printed, but similar to 5 or 6 other things I printed. Here's one of the mounts here. So on this side...
Good evening. The time is 11 p.m.
Sorry. On this side, you can see there's no isolation mount at all. And this is a 3/8 hole on this side. And here is a 1/2 inch hole, which is what this little piece right here fits. And then I've just got a 1/2-13 bolt that's stuck through there, so that's a 1/2 inch hole. Your shield or ground or whatever you want to call it connects through the box all the way over to here and is isolated from this and this. So I've just taken a multimeter and made sure that these wires didn't have a really good way of doing the wires. What I'm going to do is actually take these bolts and drill and tap them on the lathe where I've got a smaller bolt head where I can take one of the wires, and right now I'm just kind of shoving it in there to make it work. I also do have this plate that will go over top of that. And I realize I've printed these out of PLA, so in the summer that may not work. So I'm eventually going to mill some of these out of ABS or some other type of plastic where that will stay good. And the idea, is this. I can take these two 40-meter hamsticks, and one is going to screw in here, one is going to screw in here, and that's going to be basically a dipole. And then on the top, I can screw in any one of these other hamsticks that I've got. I can do a 75-meter, I can do whatever else, and you will have 2 connections that go into this box, so you can choose whichever antenna you want. So that way, I'm not sure how well it would work. I'm actually going to make a couple more of these exactly the same way, but on the next one I'm going to join these two together. So you won't have 2 of these connectors, you will just have one, and whatever it resonates on, my understanding, is which one it will pick. So you only have one connector. I'm going to test the 2 of them and see how they work. But yeah, that's essentially how it's wired up. Pretty quick and easy. And I'm sandwiching the PLA between two washers is the idea. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I've just got to take that one out and redo it. But essentially, I'll have the same setup here as I do here with that little bit thicker spacer there. So, but yeah, there's that. That's going to be my hamstick mount. And I'm going to put one of these type of nuts here, right here. So you'd actually have a female version of this that sticks out. So that will mount essentially on the top of my truck, and that'll give me a connector and a connector, And what I may do is have an antenna switch inside of my truck. I don't know. I'll figure that out whenever I get there. But there's that. And again, that printer has been fantastic. There's my switch. I've got a blank printed and stuck in for this one, but that's what turns that light off and on. I'm just going to keep this switch because it just happened to work when I needed it to work. And then I've got these two switches here, and that one doesn't do anything yet. But this one turns this light on. You can't really see that. So basically I wanted essentially a porch light for my camper. And hey, there's Shelby eating probably something out of my shop. But I wanted a way to essentially come in and turn on and off a porch light, essentially outside. So it's one of these, just like this one. And I'm going to have to, I hadn't done it yet, but before it rains, I've got to get some silicone and go around the outside of it. But that gives me a nice extra light. And I ordered two of them. They were only $8 a piece. And I'm thinking about putting the second one on the other side of this. And that might be what that light ends up doing. So that would give me lights on either side of the camper. Part of what I've done is that's a 2-man or 4-man tent. I don't remember which. So that tent is if somebody comes with me and wants to camp, I can give them a tent and they can sleep outside. And I'm going to sleep in here in my camper. So that's the idea of that. And if I have another light on the other side, this gives me a light over here. And then my frame up top, I'm thinking I'm going to put an awning on it. One that can go this way and one that can go that way. So on either side of the camper, you can have another 10 feet that way and 10 feet that way. And, you know, out here you could have camping chairs, a little table, whatever, place to meet. Outside, a little campfire, whatever you do. Then on the other side, you could have more of that, or you could have a couple of tents or a tent or whatever. And I had actually considered the heat that I'm putting out here, maybe possibly piping it out into one of the tents. If somebody wanted heat, you could have a way of sucking it out of the camper and into a tent somehow. Not sure how I'm going to do that yet, but that's something I've considered. So this heater is I think it's a 5 or an 8 kilowatt, and it's really too big for this camper. I'm thinking about ordering, there's a 3 kilowatt, which is smaller, and that would be more than sufficient for this camper. So I'm thinking about buying one of those and replacing the head that's behind there at some point, because I'm not really sure if I like that. You basically turn it on, then turn it off, then turn it on, then turn it off. And I thought this was thermostat control, but it's not. It's just on and off and high and low. Let's see, what else? I am also, let's see what I do with that little. So these are the two types of antennas that I've got right now. So this one I got off of eBay. It's a 64-to-1 balun for an end-fed half-wave. This one is a 1-to-1 balun for a center-fed dipole. I have another one of these that is, I think, a 49-to-1 or a 45-to-1 or whatever that is. That's the more common. This one was like $20, and yeah, 64-to-1. And I think somewhere it gives me, sorry, I was reading that. Somewhere it gives me the wire length for this. So I've got this one, and these are going to go in my little kit that I'm setting up, and I'm going to add the other one. So I'll have 3 total things that I'll have to set up in there. The next thing I'm going to do is the stainless steel braided wire that I've got is really good and strong. I've got 600 feet of it that I got for less than $100. It really wasn't that expensive. It seems like way cheaper than like speaker wire or a lot of the different kind of wires that I see people use. And everything that I have seen is that radio at 20 watts is never going to be a problem. It is not as efficient as copper. And I think you either have to cut it longer or shorter than copper, something like that. But you can tune it in, and everything I've seen is the efficiency loss with stainless steel wire, even though it's not as conductive as copper, is really minimum. Essentially, it's not enough to make any real difference. So my mobile antenna on my truck is going to be one of these. My antennas that I'll be able to have with me are going to be something like these. In the camper, it will be something like this. Now, a 2 meter, 70 centimeter is going to be a different setup, but these antennas are going to be my primary means of communication in the camper. But from what I understand and what I read, so an end-fed half wave, if you were to connect 66 feet of wire to this lug here, essentially that gives you 40 meters all down, let's see, it's 40, 20, 15, and 10 on a 66-foot wire. And that's just one wire that you shoot out. A 1-to-1, if I wanted a 80 meter that would resonate on 40 meter and so on and so forth, and I think my understanding is it will resonate all the way down to 10 meter with one wire off of this thing. So now a lot of what I'm getting is there's Kira. It is, well, I don't have it pulled up right now, but is OpenAI. I'm using ChatGPT to learn as much as I can, because I would love to find an Elmer in this area that knows a lot more than I do. But so far, I've not found anybody that really can do that. But this is my dipole. If I've got 66 feet and I cut 2 lengths of 66 feet of wire, from what I understand, I can take 1 length, connect it to this, and that gives me 40 meters on down to 10. My 2 primary things that I'm looking at, what I would like to be able to do is not, I don't really care about 10, 15, any of those. I'm looking at 40 and 80, because those are the 2 that seem to work with NVIS the most reliably. So 40, 60 I think can, and 80. But 60's channelized, so I'm not sure if I want to use that. So I'm thinking 40 and 80 are going to be the primary bands that I'm going to use. That radio stays on 40 meter 99% of the time, and a lot of times at nighttime I'll switch it over to 80. And with my 40 meter antenna, I've been able to have several contacts on 80 meter, and a lot of them local contacts. And while that is the opposite of what most people are looking for ham radio, that's actually exactly what I'm looking for. I want statewide communications because, again, my understanding is 40 and 80 work really well for regional type communication. And a dipole or an inverted V dipole works really well in that case as well. Your vertical antennas, if I were to make that a vertical antenna, that's where you get a lot of your longer distance. It's a different takeoff angle, and you might be able to get into Spain or whatever with that antenna, or even that 10 meter that's over there. That might even get you even further out. At least, you know, again, I've only ever really gotten on 20, 40, and 80 so far, but my intention is to have, so I can pack the fewest amount of supplies for an antenna with the most ability to go to different bands. 2 wires, 66 feet long. I can hook one here, and that gives me 40, Very quick, very easy to set up. One wire out, one wire in, you're done. And that's a really easy setup. Simple little thing that somebody makes that's got a place to hook a thing to it and hang it in a tree or whatever. And then you just need some coax. So I've got, I'm going to get 50, 20 different lengths of coax, but as little as I possibly can to make this work. So probably 20 feet to where this will go up and then out with a dipole. Now the 166-foot section, if I have 2 in the box, will get me 40. If I link the second 66-foot section, that gives me 80 meters on an end-fed dipole. Or I can not use that and use this. And I can take 166-foot here, 166-foot here, do an inverted V or a flat dipole for invis, and now I have a standard center-fed dipole with the same wire. It gives me the ability to pick and choose whichever one of these I want. If I'm somewhere where an end-fed works better, I've got the option of going all the way to 80 meters. If I'm somewhere where a center-fed dipole works better, I've got all the way to 80 meters. And again, 40 and 80 seem to work really well with the same wire. And the tuner in that will tune in a lot of stuff that maybe I wouldn't otherwise be able to tune up. So I've got a 40 meter dipole up right now, center fed, inverted V, and I've been able to reach contacts on 20, 20. I've heard people on, I think it's 30, whatever 10 megahertz is. But 20, 10 megahertz, which I'm pretty sure is 30, 40, 80. I've not tried 60. I've not tried any other bands, but every one of those bands, I've been able to use the tuner in that radio and make contacts with people on the other end, all the way, I mean, pretty far out, amazingly far out, actually. So now that I've got these, and then I've got one more 49-to-1 coming in, I'll probably end up ordering some extras of these. So I'm going to actually end up building a couple of different kits. And I'm going to use every one of these same components in each one. And I'm working on a list of components and basically trying to take, in the last 2 months, I've probably read 15 different books on antennas and just consistently stayed researching a lot of this stuff. Let's see. And so what I've been doing is, doing documents like this, where essentially this is kind of an idea of if you just need to cut a wire. If you're looking for whatever these are, here's the different lengths of wire that you can use. Kind of explaining as much as I can in the process, but I'm trying to do it in a relatively small amount of room. So that's the whole document on antenna building that I've written up. That will essentially give you the basics, the most, the overview of everything there, with my goals in mind. Disaster recovery, calm down scenario, camping, whatever. I'm looking at something that is simple for someone to set up. I'm going to set one of these boxes up for my mom to do all of this. So she's going to have everything in here, because she actually lives in North Carolina, where all of the hurricane stuff just came through. So where all that stuff just happened is where my mom is, and I couldn't talk to her for a week. So she's going to end up with a case with instructions, and essentially in the top of that case, I don't have one in front of me now, but actually, I tell you what, let me take you out there to it, and I'll give you an idea of what it is. So right now, I've just kept it in the back of my car, which is sort of the whole point. There's the little thingy. Here you go. And you can't see it. Where's the handle? I'm just going to grab it and take it into the... Tell you what, I'll just take it into the shop where I've got better lighting. I have way too much crap. No time to do anything with any of it. Let's see. Let's go over here. Hey, Shelby. Okay, so this box is one of those Harbor Freight deals. And this is what I've got in it so far. So I'm probably going to, these are there because I want to be able to quickly connect and disconnect antennas. And I just went on a road trip with a friend of mine testing out different antennas. I have these, which are like a 771 clone, but they're BNC. It's hard to find a BNC type antenna. No, don't eat those. And you can say hello to Shelby. Hey, Shelby. But these, the idea is I want to be able to quickly connect and disconnect these. And I had, here we go. I'd originally set this in here with this. This is a Slim Jim, I think, antenna that got really good reviews. Everybody said it was fantastic for 2 meter. Got you a lot of range. You could pick up a lot better. And the idea originally, when I started getting into this, is I bought a lot of antennas, a lot of different things for these radios. But to be honest with you, I think this works good for close in. But everything I'm seeing, when you don't have repeaters, these are basically useless for anything outside of 10 miles. In all reality, when you're talking simplex communication, 10 miles might even be stretching it. If you're in Florida, where it's flat, you might get 30 miles out of this thing. But if you're where I'm at, if you're in Charlotte, if you're near any kind of mountains, from what I've seen with these radios, I've gotten maybe 10 miles on a good day when everything else works great. So I'm not really, this is more, I wanted to have one of these for each one of me and my kids. So I want to be able to pull these out, hand them to my kids, and we have a way of communicating. If we're camping, I can grab each one of these. They've got a way to talk while we're camping, and it's just a quick and easy handheld radio. And then I've got the G90 here. This is a CW keyer. And then I've done this, and I'm not sure about this yet, but there's Anderson power poles that will power this. And what I've done is I've used these Wago connectors here. And what that does is that gives me a way to connect to whatever else really quickly. I can just flip that lever up, disconnect that, and connect it to something else. I'm probably going to include a set of alligator clips in here as well, but that's kind of an adaptable way that I can get power to this radio. I'm not sure if a cigarette lighter is the best way to do it, but right now that's just what I've got. But with the added flexibility of find me two 12-volt wires and I can make it work. I've also added a little extension cable that I made up, and that just gives me a little more length so I can extend this to there. Or if I have some kind of device like my camper or one of my vehicles that I've got some kind of Anderson power pole connector in, I can connect this directly to it. So that gives me that option. All of my antennas are just sitting here, and the in-fed half wave and all that are going to go in these areas here. So anywhere I've got space. There's the microphone. I've got one of the little, that thing that connects to these. Not sure if I'll keep it, but I figured if you're somewhere where you need to be quiet, that would be handy to have. USB-C charger to charge these. So all of these, and one of the reasons the bigger ones are in here, I actually prefer the UV5R. For one, they're smaller, they're lighter, and I like the display a lot better. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you can see that. This one I've got stuck in there, but these, the downside is you cannot charge that USB-C. But you can buy batteries for $13, which I have a few in the camper that I just happen to be charging, that will fit these, and that gives you the ability to then charge that with USB-C as well. So I've got a charger cable in here. I've got some pulleys in here to get stuff up in a tree. Some paracord and some of the data cable stuff. So there's the connector that connects to that, which is if I do have my laptop, I've got a little Yoga 11E. I'd love to fit something in here like a tablet or something that could do data modes, and I haven't really gotten into that yet, but I'd love to have a way to do data mode stuff in here as well. Let's see, that's probably another, nope, that's more connectors. That's the 3.5 millimeter connector for the keyer. And then I've got a just a cheap set of headphones that will connect to this. Again, if I need to be more quiet. Shelby, you can't have that. No. Thank you. Will you stop eating my stuff? Please? No, you can't have it. No. Hey, girl. That's not yours. Okay. And then I've got a couple of these. So if I just need to do a simple wire dipole, I can. And I've got a couple of these little smaller antennas. These are useless for most scenarios. But if I want to conceal my signal, if I'm somewhere where I don't want people to pick me up, this actually would be a benefit. It will keep people from hearing me. It will keep my signal from going too far. I can talk to you across a field, but it's going to attenuate my signal and keep me from going too far out, which is sometimes something you want. And then I've got a compass, which is the whole reason I bought this. It just happens to have a temperature thing and a whistle as well. I was looking for compasses, and I just ended up going to Walmart and picking up a couple of these for $3. But the idea is, if my antenna is east to west, I want you to set your antenna up east to west as well, so our signals have a better chance of meeting. So you've got a compass in here that will assist you in setting it up. So I can get on there and I can, maybe we don't have a great signal, but I can say, hey, I'm north and south and you're east and west. And one of us, whoever can do it the easiest, can change our antenna to match the other and maybe get a little bit better signal. No, you can't have that either. Stop eating my stuff. So, that's that, and it's also got a magnifying glass in it. I don't know if that's useful, but I figured for $3, that's a lot of crap packed into $3. There's one of those 1-to-1 balins, and everything I have has these connectors, the little BNC connectors. For everything I've done so far, BNC is, you stupid thing, has done everything I've wanted it to do. So, what I'm missing out of this kit is a BNC cable. So BNC to BNC to connect from here at this connector. So there's another one of those adapters to that. And one of the reasons I did that is that also standardizes everything across here. Now I can't take that antenna and plug into that radio and it be worth a crap for anything. But I just like standardizing stuff. So this is a buck boost converter. That will take, let's see, where's it at? 8 volts to 40 volts and output 13.8 volts at 25 amps max. So this will power this, no problem. If I have any kind of connector, it'll power it. And the idea is those batteries can work as that. My car battery can work as that. Even if my car battery is a little low at 8 volts, that will still pull power from it. Even if it's high, like 20 volts, that will still pull power from it. You can also take two 12-volt batteries, put them together, get 24 volts, and it's much more efficient pulling 24 volts than it is to pull 12. So if I take two car batteries, put them together, two motorcycle batteries, put them together, 2 forklift batteries, put them together, get 24 volts, you're pulling less amps from each battery. And there's I think it's like Peltier effect or something like that. So the harder you pull amperage out of the battery, the less efficient it is and the less time you're going to get on that battery. But if you can take 2 batteries and spread that load across both of them, you actually get more power out of those batteries. So that's why I wanted the ability to do that. So I can do 3 batteries together, 36 volts, run it into this, and it will connect me out at 13.8 volts, which is what my radio was looking for. That was like $70 on Amazon, and I just stuck some power poles on it. So my intention is up here. You'll be able to pull this back, and there will be like a Ziploc bag with documents in here. The absolute bare minimum to get you started in knowledge will be back here. So you will have maybe up to 30 pages front and back of documents. One of them that basically briefly explains what this is, something like a band plan, some cheat sheets, a little thing that has Morse code, the NATO alphabet, a lot of reference stuff, but then you're also going to have how to build an antenna, what each one of these things are. You'll have one sheet that has a picture of this, a picture of this, a picture of these, a picture of that, a picture of that, a picture of that, and explains in fairly decent detail what it is. The idea being, I'm going to hand this to somebody that's not me, that hasn't read all this stuff, that doesn't know all these things. And in a grid down type of situation, the people that I care about, I can at least try to communicate with them. Or if they can't get to me, maybe they get to somebody 3 states over. Maybe their antenna's got a skip zone, and it just the way they set it up, they miss me altogether. But what I have found is if I, in North Carolina, can talk to John in Arizona, but I can't talk to me in North Carolina, John in Arizona can typically talk to Joe in North Carolina. So I might be able to reach out to John in Arizona, and they might be able to reach out to John in Arizona, and he might be able to relay back and forth. So there's another option of communication. And then I'm also going to have a pace plan. So you're going to have instructions. You're going to have a pace plan. You're going to have different things. I'm going to try to color code it with different color sheets. So you'll have, a yellow sheet, a green sheet, a blue sheet, whatever. Different colors that are going to sort of be color coded for everything. Essentially, one kit that gives you as many options as possible in a small kit. I'm going to have 2 reels in here somewhere. So my 49-to-1 balun will probably go here. My other one will go here. And if I can fit it, I'm going to try to put, and I may have to rearrange some of this. I may end up losing this. So that's a CW keyer for Morse code. That may have to go. I don't want to, but it may, or it may go in here. And I have my antenna here. My high frequency antenna may live here, or this stays where it's at and the antenna just gets laid in here and then shut. So I'll figure it out eventually. I'll have all of this pretty well settled, but this is a good start. What I have right here will get you on the air minus the antenna, which is the next thing I'm putting in. This gets you 2 meter, 70 centimeter, and I have programmed these. I do not use them, but I have programmed them for MERS, GMRS, all the different things, but these are strictly emergency radios. So if you turn them on, that one was left on, and it's dead. So if you turn them on, then there's my call sign. You have MERS, and then I'll have a sheet that explains this too. All your MERS, several of your GMRS channels. Those were repeaters. That's what the R means. Your 70 centimeter, 2 meter NOAA channels for weather. APRS, so you can hear APRS data, whether or not that's usable or not. I think, and I hadn't done this yet, I can plug this into a tablet and do APRS using this radio through the tablet that has its own GPS and all that stuff. And then I have different repeaters in the area that some of these I know are working, but if you just keep scrolling, I think you can do 128 in the UV5R and more in these. But the idea is your first, I think it's up to 30 maybe, your channel 30 and down is NOAA, APRS, GMRS, MERS, all your common frequencies that someone else might be on. And in emergency, I might be able to talk to the guy that's got an FRS radio sitting at his house. That's kind of the reason I'm doing that. GMRS and FRS are compatible as far as I remember, where you can, I think GMRS channel 1 is FRS channel 1 or whatever. So you might be able to talk to somebody with a little blister pack type deal. Again, right now, I can't transmit on that. Not legally. But life or limb, that might get somebody. That might get somebody that needs help. I might be able to help somebody that can't help themselves using that radio. So those just stay tucked in here. They all have the same channels. Everything's programmed the same. So you can pick up any of these and say, hey, go to channel 3, and boom, we can talk on channel 3. So this is just a data interface. You plug in your laptop here, and you plug in the G90 here, and then you plug, I don't remember which one's which, the little USB, I forget which one. Actually, I think that's what that was for. Not this one. See, that one would normally plug into this radio if you were using cat control, but that is what this was for. That plugs in to one of these ports, plugs into this for, I think, the push to talk. And the idea being you have this cable, not that one. There's another cable in here. I'm sorry, I'm terrible at this. But you have 2 cables that plug into this, and it simplifies a lot of your connections. So that gives me the ability to take this, and again, all I've got to add now is antenna wire. So 2 lengths of 66 foot, and it gives me a lot of options for communication. Now, does not give me a power source in here. I think, to me, it's one of those things where you're going to have to scrounge up a power source. And part of my documents that I'm putting together, one of the things that it says is you use your car battery, use other people's car batteries, use whatever 12-volt battery you can, and then it's going to have some pretty simple stuff. Like that's going to be your dead simple, plug it in, and I've got to do some tests and see what this will pull and if it will hurt the G90. From what I've seen, this thing does really well even on lower current stuff. So you're not trying to run a 100-watt radio here, you're running 20 watts. So it doesn't have as much of a current draw as like my emcom or any of those. So anyway, that's where I'm at with it. Still got a ways to go, but I'm trying to standardize something like this for my family and my friends and all that stuff. So I'm going to have a document. Shelby, quit. No. I know you're bored. I know. I'm sorry. She gets really anxious if I'm not doing stuff with her. But the problem is when I bring her in my little tiny camper, she will lay down, and she's just the sweetest dog in the world. And she farts every 5 minutes like clockwork. And it will just about put you out of your misery. She is the sweetest dog. But she is gassy. She's terrible. But anyway, yeah, this is my loadout. So if you have any questions or honestly any anything that you can tell me that would be better than what I'm doing, I'm all ears. If you can find a better way to do some of the stuff that I'm doing here, I'm all ears. It may be that this is a module. So this is one case of multiple. Maybe you have another one like this that's your power source, and you've got these things that you can connect into the side of it. I do have another case smaller than this that I could put some lithium-ion batteries in and set it up with power pole connectors and all that kind of stuff. And I may actually do that to where you grab this, you grab that, whatever. But to me, I want one case that if I had to grab one thing and take it out the door, this is my communication setup. I can communicate with this case is the idea. It's not ready yet. Still got a little bit to do. And I may end up buying another one of these and redoing some of this once I do. I may buy 5 of these. I don't know if you can buy just the foam somewhere. But my intention is to set all of this up where it makes the most sense. So it may be that this gets turned this way instead of this way, and these get lined. I don't know. I may find a more efficient way to put all this together. But right now, I started out, I just took some of this out, dropped it in there. And then I took some of these out and put these in here. Then I put that in, and I just kind of have been filling it up. But I'd like to find a better way to do some of this. So any suggestions, let me know. And any questions, let me know. And I appreciate everybody's comments that are constructive. So have a great day.